Okay folks, welcome back. We're now doing the assembly and finishing part of our signs. As you can see, I've got an array of parts and tools here. So basically what we're going to do is we're going to glue our box together, and then we're going to finish the box, and then we're going to add the electronics, the LED, the controller, and this is the keypad for it. Add the electronics to it, and we've already got our plastic done, and just put the plastic in the slot. As you can see, we have a array of different ways you can finish it. You can paint it a solid color if you want, or do various woods, and you can also tint the woods or put a enhancing tint to help enhance the grain. These are all things that you can do with this particular project. So now that we've got that, as you can see, I've got an array of tools here. So let's get started. Okay, the first thing that we have to do is that we have to release our box from the rest of the board. And as you can see, it's pretty much cut out except for a couple tabs. So what we'll do is cut those tabs and release it. And I usually use a utility knife or an X-Acto blade to do that. So we'll take our utility knife or our X-Acto blade, and basically what we're going to do is just cut where our tabs are at to free it up. I only put 3 tabs in, so we don't have a lot to cut away. There we go. We're cut away. Basically what we'll do is clean up any edges that we have here, so we have nice crisp edges. That's what's going to make your seams real nice and clean, is if you have nice clean edges. Okay? And basically when we machine this, what we did is we kind of made it like a cardboard box. Okay, so that we can fold all these edges in and glue them in place. So the next thing that we have to do is make sure all of our channels are nice and cleaned out and they don't have no burrs or anything in them. And the reason being is that that's just going to make a gap when you go to put these together. So we've done that. The next thing I like to do is I like to put tape on the outside, and the reason being is that this wood is really thin, and I really want these 45-degree angles to stay together well. So in order for that to happen, what I do is I put tape over where the glue joints are going to be, so that if it does crack, at least it stays in place. And in a little bit you'll see more what I'm talking about. But I put these pieces of tape down to hold everything in alignment when I glue it up. and assemble it. So now these seams have reinforcement in the back. The other thing I'm going to do too is I'm going to need this tape to glue the ends together. So what I do is just take two pieces so I can tape the ends together. Okay, the next thing that we do is that we apply a little bit of glue. Apply it to both surfaces. And you can be kind of liberal with this. Probably should put more glue in this thing. I used to usually take my finger and spread the glue around so it's spread around evenly. Make sure you get these corners well, and then also make sure you get these two edges too. The reason being is that's where your 45s and the corners go together. So you want to make sure you get glue in all those areas real nice and well too. Now that we got our glue kind of spread all over, now it's time to fold everything together. I usually start at one of the sides, and as you can see, this folds together pretty nice. Then bring the end up, and what I do is I try to watch my corners so that I get nice crisp corners. And then I take a piece of tape, go across the corner, hold the corner taut. That'll hold that one together. Okay? This one's the same way. Basically fold it up and we bring it together so that our corners meet really nice. Now I don't have enough glue in this one, so I'm going to put a little bit more in it. I like to see a little squeeze out come to the outside. I don't want it all to squeeze into the inside. So I have some really nice corners now, and just take my tape and basically draw it tight around the corner. There you go. Now we'll just set it off to dry. Welcome back. Our glue has dried, and now we're ready to untape our box. So just pull the tape off and it will reveal our box. Believe it or not, this saves time making the box in this way. I guess I could use something other than Gorilla Tape. where the fun would that be? One more piece, guys. There we go. Okay, look how nice and crisp those edges are. Makes a nice box. Okay, now what I'm going to do is I'm going to sit there and round over on the outside edge with my router bit. I've got this handheld palm router, and that makes real short work of that. Clean our area up a little bit here. The next thing we're going to do is sand all of this stuff. And I usually sand it down to about 125 or so. So basically what I do is I sand it by hand, believe it or not. This usually doesn't take a lot of sanding. So give it a couple passes on that side. Couple passes on this side. Couple passes on this side here. And all I'm trying to do is, if there was any machine marks or anything like that left, do the ends. Do the other end. Wipe it off. See what it looks like. And then I may go over it with some little finer stuff. This happens to be 220 here. And I will just barely do these edges here. Because quite honestly, they don't take a lot. Now all we're trying to do is get it prepared, because what I'm going to do is put a color stain that'll fill in the grain a little bit. to enhance it. That's about all the sanding I do to it. And it gets it in pretty good shape. Just wipe all the dust off of it and it does a pretty decent job. It really does. So now we're ready to mix our stain that we want to put out on here. And like I said, I don't put a lot on it, just enough to give it a kind of a nice finish. And I always weigh my stain. I use Crystal-Lac, and I use this product here, their Color Boutique, and it's 8 different colors, and you mix them to get the color you want. And the color that I want is this cherry color. And with the Crystal-Lac, they have a color chart. The problem is this is for a pint at a time. Oops, I got it upside down, I'm sorry. This is for a pint at a time. And I don't need a pint, I only need maybe an ounce. So I've come up with a method of reducing this all down into grams so that I can make it. And here's my cheat sheet. My cheat sheet here is in 1 teaspoon is 5 grams, an ounce is 29.5 grams, and 1 pint is 473 grams. Well, I take their formula and I reduce it down into grams, divide that by 16, and then I come down with what I'm going to make it for 1 ounce of stain. So this is kind of my cheat sheet that I use to mix this up. So I do it on a gram scale. And actually this scale will measure in 1/100th of a gram. So it's pretty accurate. It'll actually measure per drop. And here's my scale right here. So what I do is I just take a little cup, put it on my scale, turn it on, and it'll zero out. And I start out with my formula. So in the formula, when I reduce it down, I always do the smallest amount first, which in this case is going to be the number 8. And it says I need 0.08 grams of number 8. So I will measure out that much. Oop, I must not have it cut open. There we go. Okay, there's 6, 7, 8. So I've got that color in. The next color is the number 2 color, and I need 0.3125. Oh, didn't cut that one either. So, tear it again, and 1, 0.31. That's pretty close there. And then the last color we need is the number 6, and we need 0.62 grams of that. Okay, stop there. So we have all our colors mixed in now. The only thing that I have to put now in is the base. And one thing you gotta remember about the base is, depending on how rich you want this color to be on the first coat, it will determine on how much base you put in. You can put the whole 1 ounce in, or you can put a ½ ounce in if you want it a little stronger. It just depends what you want to do. I like to go with the 1 ounce because I like to put coats on to bring it to the color that I want, instead of just trying to hit it the first time. So I'm going to put 29 grams in. So we got to reset it, and we'll put in that. Looks pretty good to me. So now all we got to do is mix it up. So let's mix it up and see what we got here. You want to thoroughly mix it. Well, that's pretty brown there. I don't know if you can see it. Right there. Now, let's suppose I wanted that a little bit darker. What could I do? Well, there's a couple things you can do. Believe it or not, if you add just a touch of green or blue, it will change it more brown. If you use blue, it will go darker brown. So let's say I want it just a tad darker. What I would do is put a drop of blue in. And you don't need much. It will change the color. I don't know if you can see that, but that's the difference between one drop of blue and not a drop of blue. It's a little bit darker. So, now I have my stain ready. And if I really like that color, all I have to do is remember what I put in it and the quantities, and then I can remake it. So that's how I do it, and I use the scale to do it. Seems to have worked out pretty good for me so far. I can usually repeat pretty decently the colors, so it works. Now the next thing we're going to do is put some stain. Okay, the next thing we're going to do is we're going to stain our little box here. Now, like I said, I'm not really trying to change the color of it. It's actually walnut, but what I want to do is enhance it a little bit. That's all I want to do. I don't want to really drastically change it. So I'll take a paper towel and what I will do is add some color to it. And like I said, I'm not trying to block out the color, I'm just trying to enhance the grain is what I'm really trying to do. So I will put this on and get somewhere where I want it to be. Now that I got coverage, and that really helps the grain. Okay, the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to put a sealer on it. I'm putting some sanding sealer on it. It's a Crystal-Lac product. And I just wipe it on with a towel. That really brings it to life. Now I'll wait for that to dry and I'll add a couple more coats on it, and then I'll start spraying on some bright tone top coat. But that's pretty much what I do on the finishing of it.